go ahead and go over the warm-up. It says, in a class of 32 students, 8 were absent. If a school has 720 students, how many would you expect to be absent? So the first thing that we're going to do is take the information that we know completely. We know completely that there's a class that has 32 students and 8 of them were absent. We're going to take that full information and create a ratio out of it. So I can do 32 students over 8 absent, or I could do 8 absent over 32 students. It does not matter. I'm going to go ahead and just put 32 students on top and 8 absent on the bottom. And based off of how I ordered that, the fact that I put students on top and absent on the bottom determines that I have to put students on top here and absent on the bottom for my second ratio. So now here it says if a school has 720 students, well, 720 students, that's going to go on top. How many would you expect to be absent? That's the question. So there's my variable x. So the hardest part is usually just trying to set the ratio up. Once you've got the proportion correctly set up, then you can go about it by doing our cross product. We're going to multiply 32 times x, which is going to give us 32x. Then we're going to multiply 720 times 8. 720 times 8 is going to give us 5,760. Then our last step to complete this, we would divide both sides by 32. And we would find that x is going to be equal to 180 absences. So 180 that are going to be absent would be the expectation. Okay, for problem number 2, Josh paid $3.72 for 3 pounds of apples. Okay, there's a fully stated ratio right here. He paid $3.72 for 3 pounds of apples. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up. $3.72 over 3 pounds. Then I need to set it up so that I have money on top again, because I have money on top for the first one, and I have pounds on the bottom. I want to know how much is 7 pounds going to cost. So I don't know the cost. I'll put X, but I do know the pounds is going to be 7. So then we're going to do our cross product. 3 times X is going to give us 3X. Then we're going to take $3.72 and we're going to multiply it by 7, and that's going to give us 26.04. And then our last step is to go ahead and divide both sides by 3, and that's going to give us x equaling 8.68, and this is going to be money. So it's $8.68 for the price of 7 pounds. Okay, any questions? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pause for a second. So starting with our percent unit, the percent proportion, it follows a concept of a statement is over of equals percent over 100, where is represents a part and of represents the whole in a situation. So given word problems, you're identifying the part of the situation and the whole of the situation and then a percentage. So percent proportion again looks like is over of. So I'm going to be using my colors. Is going to be my green value. And again, the term is representing the part in a problem. The small portion, and then of, I'm going to go ahead and do that in pink. So is over of the word of typically represents the whole. So again, looking here at the very first problem, in a class of 32, 32 was our total, our whole. 8 were absent. Were, are, and is are all the same terminology. Were, are, is. They all represent the parts, okay? But we typically call it is over of. So we have is over of, and this is going to be equal to a percent over 100. And the reason why it's a percentage over 100 is because a percent is always out of 100. A percentage is out of 100. So you're looking for the part over the total or the whole and setting it equal to a percentage over 100. 100 is always a constant. That 100 will always be there. It will never change. These three values, is, of, and the percent, 2 of them will be there and 1 of them will be missing, and you'll be identifying which value is missing. Sometimes you have to find the percentage. Sometimes you have to find the whole. Sometimes you have to find the part. It depends on the wording of the problem. Now, some of the problems are very straightforward statements. And what I mean by that is it's a sentence. It's a single sentence using the terms is, of, and percent in the problem. So, for example, 50 is 20% of what number? This is a straightforward statement where all we have to do is identify 3 parts. Which value represents the is, which value represents the of, which value represents the percent. One of those values is going to be a variable representation. So the term is. Do we see the word is in this statement? Yes. What number is associated with the word is? 50. 50 is. 50 is. Now, a lot of times people think, well, there's 20 as well, but 20 is obviously a percent. How do I know it's a percent? Because it says percent. If the number has the percent symbol attached to it, it's automatically a percent. Okay? So 50 is, that's going to be our is portion. So for the is value, we're going to put down 50. Of, here's our term of, but we don't have a number associated with the word of. It says of what number? So that means it's missing, so that means we're going to put an X. It's a variable value that is missing. The percent, that's an obvious one, 20%. It has the percent sign attached to it right here. So this is 20. Then I just set it up in my proportion. My proportion is over of, so I'm going to put 50 over X, and it equals the percent over 100, so I'm going to put equals 20 over 100. Then we just solve. We use our cross product to solve it. We're going to multiply 20 times X to get 20X. Then we're going to multiply 50 times 100 to get 5,000. And the last thing that we're going to do is divide by 20. So we'll find out that X is going to be equal to 250. So again, all you're doing is identifying which values your is, which values your of, which values the percent, and putting it in this proportion. Is over of, percent over 100. Okay, let's take a look at another one. What percent of 20 is 4? what percent of 20 is 4? So again, I want to identify my is, my of, and my percent. So let's just go through the problem. 20. 20 is the first number I see. Is that an is, an of, or a percent? Of, right? It says of 20. Of 20. That's my of. What about the value 4? Is, right? It says is 4. Is 4. So we're going to put 4 for the is. That means our percentage is missing, which is obvious because neither one of those numbers has a percent sign. So the percentage is what's missing. We're going to go ahead and put an X for our percent. Then we just set it up into our proportion. Is over of, percent over 100. So we're going to put 4 over 20 is equal to X over 100. 4 over 20 equals X over 100. Mario, you need to be copying. Get paper up there, honey. Okay, we're going to multiply 20 times X, which is going to give us 20X. Then we're going to multiply 4 times 100, and that's going to give us 400. The last thing that we'll do is to go ahead and divide both sides by 20. And we'll find out that X is going to be equal to 20%. And I put the percent because of the fact that I know I'm looking for a percent. Any questions so far? Okay, so what I'm going to have you guys do is I'm going to have you do 2 problems on your own. You're going to try 2 practice problems on your own where you have to identify the is, the of, and the percent, set it up into a proportion, and find which value is missing, whether it was the is, the of, or the percentage. Okay? I ran out of the room, so I have to switch to the next page. Okay, so for problem number 3, 60 is 25% of what number? For problem number 4, what number is 32% of 1,000? Go ahead and work out those 2 problems. Okay, let's go ahead and go over this. 60 is 25% of what number? 60 is 25% of what number? Who wants to go ahead and respond to that one? Any volunteers? Rowena? 240. Very good. So 60 is, there's our is term. 60 is, so the value is going to be represented as 60. Of what number? That's the variable, because we do not know what the of value is going to be, so we're going to put an X. And then percent is going to be 25 because it's got a percent sign right behind it, so we know that that's a percentage. We're going to set it up. 60 over X is going to be equal to 25 over 100. Is over of equals percent over 100. We're then going to do the cross product. 25 times X is 25X. 60 times 100 is going to give us 6,000. And then to end it, we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 25. And we'll get that X is going to be equal to 240. Okay, for problem number 4, what number is 32% of 1,000? Allison. 320 is correct. So what number is, that's the variable. What number is the value that is missing. So is going to be the x. Of 1,000. So our of value is the 1,000. And then our percentage is 32 because, again, it has a percent sign right behind it. So we know it's 32. We're going to set it up as x over 1,000 equals 32 over 100. Then we'll do our cross product. 100x is going to be equal to 32,000 because we'll multiply 32 and 1,000. And then the last step is to go ahead and divide both sides by 100. You'll get x is equal to 320. Okay, so those are straightforward statements. Sometimes you don't have straightforward statements, you have word problems instead. So in the instance that you have a word problem, it's the same idea, the same concept. Is represents the part of a problem. Of represents the whole of the problem. And then percent is a percent. Okay? So if you want to write that off to the side again, is going to be your part. Is going to be the part. Of is going to be the whole. Is going to be the part. Of is going to be the whole. So when we're looking through these problems, it says the number of 7th graders in the school is 312. This is 39% of the student population. So how many students are in the school? Okay, so you have to think about it. You're talking about 7th graders in the school versus students in the school. Which one's the part and which one's the whole? Are 7th graders part of the school or are they the entire school? Part. 7th graders are only part of the school. So I'm going to go ahead and identify this number because it's just the 7th graders in green. 7th graders in the school is 312. So my part is 312. So I'm going to put that on top. My whole. The whole would be how many students are in the school. Do I know how many students are in the school? No, that's the question, right? How many students are in the school? We don't know. That's the whole. That's what's missing. So we're going to put that as the x. And then, of course, as always, the easiest number to identify is anything that has a percent. Our percentage is going to be 39. So we'll set this equal to 39 over 100. Once we have it set up, we just solve it. So we're going to multiply 39 times x, which is 39x. We're going to multiply 312 times 100. That's going to give us 31,200. And then the last step is to go ahead and divide both sides by 39. And that's going to give us 800 students. So 800 total students are in the school. 800 total students are in the school. Number 6, Sally's soccer team won 17 games. They played 25 games. I want to know what percentage did they win. So again, we need to identify the part, the whole, and the percent. So they won 17 games. They played 25 games. Are either of those a percentage? Yes or no? You guys are quiet. Are either of those a percent? No, because they don't have a percent sign. So that means our percentage is our variable. So games that they won versus games that they played. Which one's the part? 17. How many games they won? That's the part. The whole is how many did they actually play. They played 25 games. They won 17 of those games. Okay, then you just set it up. You're going to do 17 over 25 equals your percentage x over 100. You would then do your cross product. 25 times x gives you 25x. 17 times 100 gives you 1700. Then you just divide both sides by 25. And you're going to get that x is equal to 68. And since it's supposed to be a percent, we're going to put a percent sign behind it, 68%. I want you guys to try problem number 7 on your own. All right, let me go ahead and go over it since most of you are able to come up and get your sheet now. So 15% of students at Northbrook Middle School are absent today. There are 920 students in the school. We want to know how many are absent. So automatically, I already know that I've got a percentage here. So my percent value is going to be 15. There are 920 students in the school. Is that a part or a whole? That's a whole. Okay, so that means the part is what's missing. The whole is 920 students. There are 920 students in the school. We want to know the amount of students that are absent. That's going to be the x. So we are going to put x out of 920. That's going to be equal to 15 out of 100. We would then go ahead and do our cross product. So we're going to multiply 100 times the x. That's going to give us 100 in x. Then we're going to multiply 920 times the 15. That's going to give us 13,800. And then, of course, our last step in order to solve is to divide both sides by the coefficient, which happens to be 100. So we're going to get x is equal to 138 absent students. 138 students that were absent. Okay, you have your pink sheet. If you didn't get it, come up and get one. That is your assignment. It does need to be completed prior to your next class with me.